You wanted the picks? You got the picks. The hottest picks in the world.
My friends, 138 MMA back again. Serves me right too, because typically I record my breakdowns on Monday, put my breakdown video, full card, preview and prediction out on Tuesday. Well, here's the thing. Here it is Monday. I put my preview and prediction video out early. So now Monday night, I'm here recording this, which I wouldn't have had to do had I waited until Monday to record. So it serves me right. I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed the early look at my full card breakdown. So now we're going to break down another fight between Nassourdine Imavov and Sean Strickland, because Sean Strickland is stepping in short notice as Kelvin Gastelum has pulled out of the fight. We now have this fight at 205 pounds as opposed to the middleweight bout that was between Gastelum and Imavov. So how does that affect both guys? I don't know. That'll be something we'll have to check out. I've never seen either of them fight at 205. I mean, Sean Strickland's a former welterweight, so there's that. I guess so is Imavov, technically. I think he competed at welterweight a long time ago. Either way, that's not my point. Point is, both guys got brand new matchups as of Monday. The fight's on Saturday. That's what we're getting at. 4-1 for Imavov is still the same as before, but 3-2 for Strickland. Now, this is interesting because Strickland, he has not had two losses in a row in his career, as far as I can remember. I don't think he ever has, or if he has, it's been so far back that I didn't see it on his regular, like when I'm looking at his UFC tenure, it's not there. It's before that if he has. I don't think he ever has, though. So anyway, back-to-back losses for Strickland. How is that going to affect him? 3-2 in the last 5. He was on a pretty lengthy winning streak, before these two losses. Although I thought he won the Cannonier fight. You guys can argue with me in the comments. That's fine. It was a close fight. I did pick Strickland to win, so I was a little bit biased. But I thought he won. I thought he did more damage. You just, it's how it works sometimes. But either way, 3-2. How is Strickland going to handle this? Is he going to say, I need to be more aggressive and get the finish in this because I'm not winning these fights and I need to get this done quick? And he thought he probably got robbed in that last fight. Rightfully so. I mean, one judge had 4 out of the 5 rounds for him, so I understand. So anyway, is he going to say, I need to get this finish because the judges aren't going to give it to me? Is he going to say, oh, I need to be more cautious because I can't give this fight away? What are we going to see out of Strickland in this fight? That's what I wonder, especially after coming off 2 losses. It's going to be interesting. However, him stepping down on short notice, I think actually favors Strickland because the way that this guy is, he's basically, he fights like he spars and he spars like he fights. So for this guy, if he's stepping in on short notice, he doesn't have time to do any of that extra crap. He's just going to step right in and do his thing as if it's a normal Saturday night. He's just at the gym. He's just doing his thing. Except now he's fighting Imavov. Not a big deal for Strickland, okay? I don't think that's going to be an issue for him at all. So for Strickland, I think that actually favors him to step in at this. And there's no weight cut, really. I mean, I don't think he walks around much bigger than 205, if any bigger at all. But it's going to be at 205, obviously. So I think he's walking in about as comfortable of a weight as he needs to be. Maybe he cuts a tiny bit. Imavov, on the other hand, preparing for Gastelum. Now he's got a totally different matchup. Somebody who actually has a reach advantage over him by about an inch. He was preparing for somebody who is nowhere near the same height and reach as him. Strickland is shorter by 2 inches according to Tapology or whatever, but he does have a reach advantage of 1 inch over Imavov. I didn't write it up here. It was pretty close. It's not a big enough difference to make it a thing. Either way, in this matchup now, we have two guys that generally prefer to strike. We have this crisp kickboxing of Nassourdine Imavov, as I mentioned in the full card breakdown. He does still have those counters and that good footwork. How is that going to match up against the forward, just kind of plodding 1-2, 1-1-2 style of Sean Strickland? Because he does have that decent boxing, and I know a lot of people think it's not very good, but it lands. And I think that if you were looking damage for damage in that last fight, I think he damaged Jared Cannonier way more than Cannonier damaged Strickland. That's just me. He does put out a high volume, and I have the plus-minus next to the striking defense. Typically, I see it as a plus because he doesn't get hit very much. Yes, his nose was bleeding in the last fight, but that's about it. He didn't get hit very, very much by anything that rattled him in that fight. Nothing rattled Sean Strickland in his last fight. But here's the thing. The judges are now seeing the shots that he's blocking or parrying or just kind of rolling with as significant strikes that are hurting him, even if they do not hurt him, even if they're not doing that. And I don't know why that is. They've been another great example. Joaquin Buckley versus Chris Curtis. They had Joaquin Buckley landing a bunch of strikes on Chris Curtis. They were all hitting his arms. But according to the strike counting, those all landed on Chris Curtis, even though they just hit his arms. Does that count as a landed significant strike? I don't think so. apparently the people counting the strikes, they think so. So for me, his striking defense, although good when you're trying to not get hit and not get hurt, does not work in the judges' scorecards. So for me, I think it's a tough one. I don't know. It'll be great if he can get the finish, but it's going to be horrible if it goes to the scorecards. And you got Imavov, who he's doing big movements to step out of the way or, landing a big counter shot, whatever, something like that. For Imavov, I think his big move out of the way of a strike is going to be a better thing than the little parry and move your head and kind of just get grazed. So overall, I think that the striking defense, even though it's the same as it has been, is now getting scored as a less of a positive for Sean Strickland, if that makes sense. So anyway, let's get to what we're really talking about here. Is Sean Strickland going to grapple? Well, here's the thing. He has really good wrestling that he just doesn't ever use, and we all know this. But he's fighting against a guy who has good grappling in his own right, but only if he's on top, because off of his back, Imavov struggles. Imavov has good grappling on top, and he does have some solid ground and pound. So if he can get on top of Strickland, he would obviously be able to use that grappling pretty well. I don't think he's getting on top of Strickland. Strickland's got good takedown defense. I do think Strickland's the better wrestler, the pure wrestler. But if Imavov gets on top of him, Strickland's going to be in trouble. However, Strickland does have good wrestling. If he decides to stop being so silly and just go in there and just take him down once or twice even, especially on a guy in Imavov who we don't really know about his cardio. He kind of gassed out in the last fight. He's shown that he's kind of gassed out in a couple of other fights as well. It's not a consistent thing out of him, but he's done it before. I don't know that he's going to have trouble, but this is a 5-round fight as opposed to 3, so that could be a thing. And he's going against a guy that never gets tired in Sean Strickland. So anyway, if Strickland decides to bank maybe the first round, second round maybe, using that wrestling, take Imavov to the ground, who, like I said, struggles off his back. Just do some damage. Strickland's going to win the rest of the fight because Imavov's going to be gassed. It's going to be over. However, do I think he's going to do that? No, absolutely not. I think he's going to stand there. He's going to walk forward with his 1-2s and 1-1-2s, and that's what he's going to do. Maybe he'll stick 3 jabs down, 4 jabs down, and finally drop that cross on him. He's just going to keep doing those straight shots, occasionally throwing a hook in there every now and then, nothing crazy. That's what he does. But he has incredible cardio and incredible pace and just walks forward and walks guys down. And it works really well against guys that do get tired. I don't know. There's a close fight. I think the short notice actually favors Strickland more than it does Imavov, who is preparing for a fight. And I know that sounds crazy, but I think it does. Just because, like I said, the way that the guy trains, he basically trains like he fights. He fights like he trains. This is another day at the office for him. He doesn't have to make a big weight cut anymore. He's just stepping in there and fighting a guy, and he does not care. That's going to work out well for him. Now, is he going to win on the scorecards? That I don't know. Because judges aren't going as favorably for Sean Strickland as they used to. So for me, I kind of lucked out. I was getting worried about I placed a flyer bet on Imavov early on. When I don't know, minus 195, minus 200, something like that. Now it's gone. So that's great because I was unsure if he was going to make it the full 5 rounds and not get tired and then let Gastelum knock him out. Because if that could happen in the Gastelum fight. This fight, Strickland isn't really a knockout artist. Yes, he can put guys out. He's done it before. It's just not super likely. Either way, I got that bet back. So I might just sit this one out, not bet on this one. I might throw some more on my guy Damon Jackson because Damon Jackson's my guy. He's going to win this fight against Danny Ige. Anyway, in this matchup here, I've got Sean Strickland, but barely. And the reason I have him, like I said, it's the cardio concern, and it's the fact that I think the short notice favors Sean Strickland.